What's up everyone, my name's PlatinumHowler, coach of your Delta Gligars. Today I'm here to bring you the revamp of my NCL series. For the next 3 weeks, I will be bringing you uploads on Tuesday and Thursday for the remaining games of the regular season. This match is going to be week 6 against Lux. Go check him out. He is a fellow content creator. We will be playing in another league coming up as well. We'll be in the same league. So for these final regular season games, there won't be any team builder portions of these videos. It'll just be post commentaries, and I'll make sure to give as thorough post comms as possible. The reason for no team builders is just because I didn't record the team builders at the time of the game, so it's really hard for me to go back in time and kind of get back into what I was thinking when I was building those teams all the way back then. So we're just going to be showing off the games. I feel, even though the games were a while ago, that I can still explain them well enough. So yeah, we have played Lux before. We played him in Season 6 of the IBL, which was a Wi-Fi league. He hasn't really been doing much Wi-Fi stuff since Generation 8 came out, but he will be very soon, and that's the league that we're playing in upcoming. And he also played in Blitzel with us last season, also going 10-2, just like us. We actually managed to just pass him in the final week and claim the #1 spot in playoffs. But we actually never got to play each other in Blitzel last season, so this is our first time playing in the NCL. You can see his team on the screen there, and the mons that he did not bring, the two most notable ones that he didn't bring, being Mega Mawile and Zeraora, which I was pretty surprised to not see both of them, especially the Mega Mawile, considering I believe it ended the season tied for 3rd in the league kill race. I think it had like 16 or 17 kills or something, which is pretty impressive. So we don't have to worry about that thing, which is great. So yeah, I'm not going to reveal too much about my sets for this game, especially. Like, in the upcoming videos, I'll go over my team briefly. I'll just explain the sets very briefly and not have like extended team builders at the beginning. I'll just kind of say, hey, look, you see 6 Pokemon here, and these are the sets on those 6 Pokemon. You see, normally I have my full team over on the right side of my layout, but I had to get creative here. I couldn't show off my full team, and there's a very good reason for that. So yeah, let's get into it here. I'm going to lead off with my Donphan, which is physically defensive, and because I see this Ribombee that might want to set Sticky Webs, having my Rapid Spinner on the field on turn 1 is very good for me. And that's exactly what he leads with. I'm just going to go for a Toxic, because I can break the Ribombee's presumed Focus Sash with a Toxic, and then I can try to deal with it in other ways. Instead, the switch out into Weezing comes, and we see that the Weezing, no ability shows on the Weezing, which means, no Neutralizing Gas did not proc, so we know that it is a Levitate Weezing, so we know that Donphan can't touch the Weezing with Earthquake. I was predicting most likely something like a Will-O-Wisp to come out, but instead the Weezing goes for Corrosive Gas and melts my choice specs on my Greninja. I tried to make a very aggressive switch into the Greninja, expecting a Will-O-Wisp. My Greninja is, obviously, as you saw, choice specs. So it's a special attacker. It doesn't really care all that much about getting burned. So if I can get my choice specs mon in really early on and get big damage on something in its team, that would be really, really beneficial. However, losing choice specs, it really, really, really sucks, and that's a great bring on Lux's part, and it's going to help him deal with my Greninja a lot easier for the rest of this match, and we're just going to have to play the rest of this match with no item on our Greninja. So I'm just going to stay in here and go for a Dark Pulse on the incoming. Actually, no, I went for Hydro Pump, just because that does the most damage to the Weezing that was sitting in front of me. We see that this is a very specially defensive superior. Anyways, so this is the first time that I brought Hydro Pump on my Greninja, and the reason, usually I've just brought Surf for accuracy, because, you know, Surf is guaranteed to hit. I don't want to miss attacks when I'm attacking with my Greninja, but I did bring Hydro Pump this time, because Choice Specs Hydro Pump can OHKO the Urshifu, the dark type Urshifu that you see that he has, and it also OHKOs Mega Mawile. So if I could OHKO those Pokemon from full HP, then I think Hydro Pump was definitely worth bringing for me. I could OHKO them not even in Ash form. I could OHKO them in my regular form and then get Ash form after that. But, so, because this Superior is in, we definitely do not want to be staying in on this. We do have Ice Beam on our set, but Ice Beam's not going to be doing nearly enough damage to this thing when you see how little the Hydro Pump did. So Glare comes out, it's going to paralyze our Mega Venusaur, which is going to be able to check that Superior all of the time. And we can Mega Evolve now, just go for a free Sludge Bomb. His only resist to the Sludge Bomb is this Wheezing. We can't really do much to it other than just Sludge Bomb it down, and then it can eventually go for a Pain Split to try to heal its HP on me, but I do have Synthesis for recovery as well. So we just keep spamming Sludge Bomb to try to wear down the Wheezing, and eventually he switches in the Salamence, and we're going to get a good chunk of damage with the Sludge Bomb off against this Salamence. And so really the only thing that immediately threatens this particular Mega Venusaur is this Salamence that you see. Venusaur can deal with his team extremely well, except for this one Pokemon, because Salamence now gets Hurricane in post Isle of Armor. You know, it's one of the new moves that it gets. It's going to be released in the Crown Tundra. You'll finally get to use it on Wi-Fi, and it finally gets Hurricane, so it gets some decent Flying Stab, and really makes a special variant of Salamence better. And Lux has been running this special Salamence for the majority of the season, and he has been very lucky in hitting the majority of his Hurricanes this season. So I figured that he was going to bring this set again, and that's why I brought this very specific specially defensive Bronzong to take on the Salamence. As you see there, he finally misses a Hurricane. I think that was the first one that he missed all season long, 6 weeks in. And we are running Heat Proof on our Bronzong, so we resist his Hurricane, and we only take neutral damage from Fire Blast. As you see, super effective, but it's really not. It's really neutral, and it does very, very little to us, and we're going to get even more HP back with our leftovers. Now we have a Toxic on the Salamence, so we are in a very good position to take this thing on. And now I'm going to make an aggressive play into my Greninja, knowing that, you know, if Salamence stays in, it would be going for a Fire Blast. Although it's probably not going to be staying in, it's probably going to want to switch out into, most likely, the Slowbro. So getting my Greninja in against the Slowbro, obviously that's a good matchup for me. I can just go for a Dark Pulse and do a lot of damage to this thing, even though I don't have my choice specs. So that's what I do. I go for the Dark Pulse. He reveals to be Colbur Berry, and he would have lived that hit regardless, even without the Colbur Berry. And he has Body Press and is going to get a lot of damage off against my Greninja, but it's not going to OHKO because I do have a tiny little bit of physical defense investment. I didn't need to run max speed. I only needed to run enough speed to outspeed this Superior right here. So I had some extra EVs that I could throw into, you know, HP and physical defense, and actually physical defense is where I put those extra EVs. So that works out quite nicely. I'm able to at least keep my Greninja around for now. Good prep on his part to lure the Greninja in and gets lots of damage off against it. But the Superior is still very specially defensive. It's still healthy. It can still switch in on a Dark Pulse from my Greninja here and still be out of range to die from an Ice Beam. But I'm going to go... Actually, I am not going to go for the Ice Beam on this turn. I switch out into my Venusaur again. But I would have liked to make the more aggressive play and go for an Ice Beam here. If I had gone for an Ice Beam, expecting him to go for a Defog there, I don't... that probably would have been a little bit over-aggressive of a play on my part, to be honest. I think that expecting him to go for a Defog there was a very, very risky play. you know, risky in the sense that I don't think I want to give up my Greninja if he doesn't have Defog, but seeing as it's a more bulky superior set, Defog makes a lot of sense. Ribombee could be a potential hazard removal as well. It could carry Defog, but I think it's more likely that superior carries Defog than Ribombee does. So if I had predicted a Defog there, because I did set up the rocks on his side, I could have probably 2-hit KO'd the superior with Ice Beam. It would have probably been like a damage roll, considering he's about to get leftovers recovery. So it would have been really, really close for whether or not 2 Ice Beams could have killed the superior. And seeing if I still had my choice specs Ice Beam from my Greninja would be a guaranteed 2-hit KO on the superior, and it wouldn't be able to check my Greninja nearly as well. But either way, it would have been really, really good for me there if I had expected Defog. But instead, he's able to get my rocks away and keep this superior nice and healthy, and switch out into the Weezing once again as I go for just a... Oh, I actually make a double switch there, predicting the Weezing to want to come in most likely, or just predicting the superior to switch out in general. And I get my Greninja back in. You see, clearly this game is not quite as fresh in my mind, seeing as how I don't remember the exact moves that I made. But I go for a Hydro Pump here, just because I'm actually not confident that Dark Pulse would kill because I don't have choice specs anymore. So I catch him by surprise there by going for the Hydro Pump. I think he definitely was predicting me to, you know, maybe want to catch Superior coming in and go for an Ice Beam there. I think he was just trying to make a middle ground play by switching into the Ribombee, because Ribombee is actually naturally faster than Greninja. So he could come in, take a hit, and then threaten me out because he's faster and can go for a super effective move to knock me out. I mean, it doesn't have to be super effective to knock me out at this range because I've already taken so much damage, but... and I actually get a critical hit with the Hydro Pump, which was definitely matters a lot, because it brought him down to his Focus Sash. So it's not like... I still think it matters a lot because I don't know that without the crit, he would have been in range to die to a Water Shuriken. Water Shuriken, of course, being boosted in priority, so it doesn't matter that he outspeeds me. I can go for that to pick him off if he wanted to stay in. And if he did stay in there and I got the kill with Greninja, then I would have achieved Battle Bond and we would have become Ash-Greninja. But instead, the Superior just comes in here. I probably make a... This is probably not a very smart play of me to go for Ice Beam on this turn, but thankfully he does go for a Synthesis to try to keep his Superior as healthy as possible. And now on this turn, I'm going to switch out into the Venusaur, as he, I think, predicts that. I actually don't really know if he predicted that, or exactly what he was predicting. But he does get the Pain Split off against my Mega Venusaur. I don't particularly care that he's going for Pain Split on my Venusaur, because I can just click Synthesis up and then switch out once I think this Weezing has been weakened appropriately. I do get fully paralyzed there once, and I was it would have been really bad if I got fully paralyzed 2 turns in a row, because then I wouldn't have got the Synthesis off, and Mega Venusaur would have basically been dead there. I wouldn't have been able to Synthesis up against anything else on his team. So it's a really good thing there that I didn't get fully paralyzed twice in a row. We still are able to get our Synthesis off here. And now I'm going to switch out into my Greninja as he goes for Pain Split here. And that's actually going to give our Greninja some health back and take some health away from this Weezing. So that was a very good play on our part to bring this thing down even lower so that it potentially would die to a critical hit Sludge Bomb from our Venusaur now. And it just makes him Pain Splitting our team a lot more difficult. And it also means that we can go for an Ice Beam against this thing to knock it out now, which means that Superior switching in is much less free. Superior switching in is going to be taking super effective damage now from our Greninja. But he's still going to go into it because it's still very healthy and still very specially defensive. So with the leftovers recovery, he's clearly going to be out of range to die for another one, so I need to switch out as he goes for the synthesis to bring him back up to full HP. I can now go for a toxic and really threaten this superior. The superior does not want to get toxic. It's going to be a lot harder for it to check my Greninja if it's getting constantly worn down by toxic, and it also wants to stay in to click synthesis to keep itself healthy, so it doesn't want to get toxic. I have a free toxic on basically anything on his team except for the Weezing, of course, which already switched in on my Donphan's toxic earlier. But the Weezing doesn't necessarily want to switch into a potential Psychic on my Bronzong, which I may or may not have. I will not reveal that. So yeah, I can just go. My play here is to go for Toxic. I want a Toxic on their Superior, and it's actually going to be the Urshifu that comes in here, and I'm definitely okay with getting a Toxic on this Urshifu. I am now going to switch out into my Donphan, which was basically my dedicated sack to a Urshifu that is Choice Banded, because Choice Banded, if it's Choice Banded, then I don't have a switch in on my team. I just have to let something go down. But thankfully we did get a Toxic off, so we're getting a lot of residual damage off against this Urshifu. It's going to take, it's going to lose like 36% of its health to the Toxic, and it's also losing a third of its health to taking Rocky Helmet damage twice. So it's very, very weakened now without us even doing direct damage to it. However, because I know this thing is banded, I know that Greninja will outspeed, and Urshifu has very, very minimal special defense, so I can pretty safely go for an Ice Beam to pick this thing off, and if the Superior comes in, again, it's going to be taking super effective damage, and we get a freeze on the Ice Beam on his Superior, which is 100% game-changing. 10% chance to freeze his Superior. Now, I knew in the back of my mind this whole time that if he continued to switch in Superior on Ice Beams, that eventually I might have a decent chance to freeze their Superior, and then I would have a much, much better time dealing with his team if this Superior wasn't able to move. So now that this Superior is frozen, it only has a 20% chance to thaw itself. And if it doesn't thaw on this turn, then 2 more Ice Beams from my Greninja will knock it out, and I will get my Battle Bond form. So I am just going to stay in and pray that this Superior stays frozen, and that's exactly what happens. It is still frozen, so I can knock this thing out with another Ice Beam. However, he is now going to switch out into the Slowbro, because Slowbro is still healthy enough to where you saw that my first Dark Pulse with the Colbur Berry did about 35% to the Slowbro. So he is now at 72%. So there's a decent chance that he could survive a Dark Pulse from this range. There's a decent chance that he could survive Dark Pulse because, 35% without Colbur Berry now, it should be doing about 70%. But it still's probably a roll to knock out the Slowbro. So he may just be planning the whole time to bring in Slowbro now and then sack something else on his team off. But if he does that, then Ash-Greninja then I'll get Ash-Greninja and I'll get a massive stat boost. So I would be doing even more than 70% damage to this Slowbro in my Ash form. However, I get another freeze on this Ice Beam, and that was totally not necessary. I did not want that second freeze at all. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of hoping that in the back of my mind that I would get a freeze on the Superior, but I was never hoping for a freeze on an incoming Slowbro. That was just a little excessive, like 2 10% chances in a row. Is kind of ridiculous, and I'm really sorry to Lux about that because it really kind of ruined this game. This game was shaping up to be a pretty good game in the early going, and then these freezes kind of just turned it into a joke of a game, unfortunately. But he does bring in the Superior now to let it go. It is I mean, it is the most useless member of his team if it's going to stay frozen. So he is forced to give my Greninja a kill, and it's now going to activate its Battle Bond. And I just stay in and get a critical hit Dark Pulse on the Slowbro to knock it out. I do not know for a fact whether or not this crit mattered. Again, I was doing about 70% in my regular form before I got my massive special attack boost with Dark Pulse. So there is a good chance that that crit didn't matter, but he had to hope that he got a beneficial roll and thawed after I froze his superior to get the knockout. Now he could have potentially gone for a Scald on this turn to Scald actually guarantees to unthaw Pokemon that have been... Oops. That's my whiteboard with my notes on it. If he went for Scald, he would unthaw, but he would not KO my Greninja because of the HP that I got back from switching it in on Weezing's Pain Split. So he would have had to hope to get the 20% chance. He would have also had to hope not to get flinched by my Dark Pulse. So I think even regardless, like even without the freeze there, the odds were in my favor to come out of this exchange in a good position. Like he would have had to get a beneficial roll. He would have had to not get flinched, and you know, even if neither of those things happen, then this Slowbro is very, very weakened, and it's easier for the rest of my team to deal with. So we still get very lucky, I will admit. And now Greninja, now Greninja just outspeeds everything, including the Salamence. I can go for an Ice Beam on it. It just outspeeds everything and it kills everything because of the freeze on the superior. So Greninja gets all 6 kills, and we win this game 5-0, and we improve to 4-2 through 6 weeks. I believe Lux falls to 3-3 because I think we're both 3-2 coming into this game. But yeah, so that's our records at the time. But of course, the regular season is now over. I'm not going to give away Lux's season. You know, he has his own YouTube channel. Maybe he's planning on he said he was planning on uploading some BBL content this past season, but I don't think he ever ended up doing that. But who knows? Maybe he makes BBL or NCL the movie. Either way, you should go check out his YouTube channel because he'll guaranteed have some content for you coming out very soon. So good game to him once again. I'm very sorry about the freezes, I really am. And that's going to be it for this battle. We will have another battle for you, our Week 7 battle, coming out on Thursday this week. Also, on Friday, we'll have a very special extra video for you guys. I'm not going to give too much away. It's going to be a surprise. So Tuesday, Thursday, NCL for the next 3 weeks. We'll have steady content coming out on the channel once again. And also, if you are interested in watching me stream, I am streaming regularly on Thursday afternoons starting at around 2 o'clock Pacific time on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/PlatinumHowler14 if you want to check me out on Twitch as well. So thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all of our Pokemon Draft League content. And we will see you for the next NCL video very soon.